In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use your financial data to create insights that actually change people's behavior. Step 1, clean the data. If you don't have solid data to start with, the whole thing is just a house of cards. And here's why. The worst possible outcome for a finance leader or an ops leader is to be running a results meeting and have the person who's accountable for that area tell you that your numbers are wrong. And it doesn't even matter who's correct. Maybe they're wrong and maybe they aren't, but in that moment, it's the credibility of the report that gets taken down. So when I say clean the data, I don't just mean according to you. You got to work with the other team members, make sure that they're on the same page about how things are measured before you put it in front of them with insights about how they're supposed to improve. It's a team effort. Step 2, tighten down the scope. Just because you have a whole lot of data doesn't mean you need to give everyone all the data you have. Any decent financial analysis, it's going to have hundreds, maybe thousands of data points, and you could share all of them. But if you do, you're pretty much dead in the water. That's when everyone's going to give you their what the face, and they're not going to care about what you're saying. Here's the way I do it. Dial down the scope of what you share. Figure out the point you want to make, and then display only the data you need to get that point across. Your job is to share the high impact data points, keep the rest off to the side for yourself. You can always go deeper down the rabbit hole if you need to, but you usually won't as long as you do the next 2 steps. Step 3, find the variances. Simply taking the data and spitting it out all over the place is not enough. The rest of the team needs your help in figuring out exactly what to focus on. Look, you'll have some standard metrics that you report on every month, totally, but the rest of the stuff, how do you actually figure out when you need to throw a flag on something and bring it to the rest of the leadership team? The best way to do this is by running what's called a variance analysis. For any metric, expense, KPI, any number in the business, just compare what's happening in the current reporting period to what happened in the prior one and take a look at how much it's changed, because big variances deserve some brain power. Here's a pro tip on this though. Look at your variances by percentage and by dollar amount. It's you might see a 75% variance on an expense, but if it was actually someone spending $25 this month versus $100 last month, it's still not worth talking about. So look at it both ways. If you do your assessment and pair it up with a variance analysis before you put it in front of your team, you'll make sure that the big stuff doesn't slip by unnoticed. Step 4, diagnose the root cause. This last step is what separates the great finance leaders from everybody else. The best leaders will never just point at a problem. They work to understand why the problems happened. And the only way that you can do this is to have context about how the business works. You cannot just live inside a spreadsheet, crunching your little numbers, and somehow magic up some valuable root cause analysis when the time comes. It's just not a thing. The best finance leaders, the best ones in the world, they love the finance side and they love the business side. And they're a true partner and an asset to the other leaders on the team. Imagine for a minute how much more effective all of your department heads could be if you bring an accurate and well thought out root cause analysis as to why the numbers are what they are. It'll help them find the next area to focus on, see the things that are performing well and the things that are not performing well, and help them craft strategies for the upcoming month, upcoming quarter, upcoming year. Being able to do this well, it's an art form. But when you conquer it, you'll stop being a bean counter and start being the person that leaders come to for help. And that is exactly where you want to be. I'm going to be doubling down on these kind of topics in my newsletter, including deep dives on exactly how I do these things in my own company. The link's in the comments. Get on the list, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything awesome. And I will see you next week. Later.